Well, good morning, folks, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time of day it is where you are. It's lovely to see you, and I hope that I find you all very well indeed. If you're new and you're not normally here, this is What's for Tea, and my name is Cheryl. And tonight for tea, I made these amazing traditional Scotch pies. Scotch pies are loved all over Scotland, and this is the first time that I've actually made them myself. And as you can see, it turned out beautifully. But just before I move on, I wanted to say a massive thank you as usual to the supporters of the channel over on my Patreon page. So thank you all once again, guys. It is very much appreciated. I'll leave a link to my Patreon just underneath this video. So Scotch pies, like I said, loved all over Scotland. It's basically a minced lamb or minced mutton pie encased in a lovely hot water pastry. It's quite a firm pastry and very, very easy to make, which I'm going to show you in a wee second. The only thing I would say about this pie is it's quite important to get a good quality minced lamb or minced mutton. I was looking for minced mutton. My butcher didn't have any, so I'm using minced lamb. You'll need a couple of herbs. So I'm using half a teaspoon of marjoram, a heaped teaspoon of mace, and other than that, you're just going to need some salt and pepper. They're very, very simple pies. And also the shape is obviously quite important. So you're going to want something like this, something with straight sides, and that's going to give you the signature Scotch pie shape. And I'll leave a link underneath this video to similar pies to the ones that I'm using. These ones are 10 by 4 centimetres. And you'll also need something to cut out your lid, which is slightly smaller than the tins that you're using. This recipe will give you enough for 4 pies. So let's go and show you just how easy and delicious these are to make. First thing we're going to do is the hot water pastry. Really easy, and the easiest pastry I've ever made, and I am no baker, so if I can do this, anyone can. So pop your water into a pan followed by your lard. If you don't want to use lard or can't find it, you can use butter, but in my opinion, you're better using lard. It's the most traditional and just gives you a better result. So you just want to warm these gently together until your lard has melted. You don't want this to boil because you don't want any of your water to evaporate. Grab yourself a mixing bowl and pop in your plain flour. Make a wee well in the centre just to pour your hot liquid into. So pour that in. You want to give this a good mix until it all comes together and gives you a nice ball. Should be nice and smooth. This will just take you a minute or so. It doesn't take long at all. Happens really quickly. And you're looking for something like this. So now you want to grab your flour again and make sure your surface is well floured. And you just want to knead this for about 30 seconds or so. It's just to, we just bring it all together into one ball. Now, because I'm making 4 pies, you want to split your dough into 4 equal sized pieces. And each of your pieces will give you enough to make your pastry case and your lid. Just pop the pastry that you're not using back into your pan and pop your lid on, and that'll keep it nice and warm and malleable. So the first thing I'm going to do is make my pastry case. So you just want to roll it out. You want it quite thin because traditionally, there would be quite a thin pastry crust, but not too thin that you can't pick it up. Just pop that over your pie tin and it will naturally, with the weight, find its own way down. Just give it a wee help by lifting the sides up. And make sure, with your knuckle or the flat of your hand, just make sure it's right into all those wee corners. And with your excess, just take the back of a knife, go along the top of your tin and cut away any extra that you have. Tidy it up with your finger just to give you that nice flat top. Easy, it really is. So just do that for the rest of your pies and then do your lids. Leave your lids till last because your pastry will have firmed up a good bit by now. And it'll make it easier to handle. You want to cut out a wee hole in the top to let your steam escape. And that's that done. So you just want to stack these one on top of each other, but make sure you get some greaseproof paper in the middle, so that they don't touch. So you want to pop these into the fridge along with your pie tins for at least an hour, but the longer the better, hours if you can. Now that your pastry cases and lids are in the fridge, we're going to do the filling and then pop that in as well. So into a mixing bowl, you want to pop your mince, followed by your salt and then your pepper. And we're also going to add in the marjoram and also the mace. And this is what they look like here, just in case you're not sure. We're also going to add in some beef stock, so between 4 and 6 tablespoons, and this will just depend on the mince that you have. You just want to add enough so that it all comes together. And just give everything a good mix together. And mine's is still quite loose, so I'm going to add another 2. So I ended up using 6 tablespoons altogether. And I was happy with this. So you just want to cover that, and again, pop that in with your pastry cases and your lids. Mine's had about 3 hours, I think, but like I said, the longer you can leave them, the better, but definitely a minimum of 1 hour. You really do want these nice and firm. So once your cases are nice and firm, you can go in and pop your mince mixture in. You only want to half fill these, because when you put your pastry lid on, you know, you don't want this all the way to the top. So halfway is fine. And then you can pop on your lid. And as you can see, it really has firmed up by now. And don't worry if it's not all the way to the edge, because they very rarely are ever to the edge. Even if you buy them here from a baker, you know, or a butcher, there'll always be a wee gap around the sides for some reason. So you want to brush these with milk. You don't want these glossy, so you don't want to be brushing these with egg. You want to bake them for between 40 and 45 minutes on quite a low oven in the middle of your oven, and they will come out looking something like this. And I was super chuffed with these. These just look exactly the same as the ones that you'll see in my local bakery, and my butcher shop also makes them, and you can just see everything bubbling away there. Now let these cool for a good 10 minutes before you try and take them out, or you will burn your fingers off. So all I done was I released the wee catch on the front just to, you know, let them cool. And then I came back about 10 minutes later, and, you know, and the tin just slides off. And because you've lined the underneath, you know, you can just lift that straight off. And as you can see, the pastry is perfectly cooked. You don't want these overly brown because they are traditionally quite pale. And, you know, they don't have any shine or anything off them. That's why we use milk instead of egg. I'm just going to serve these very traditionally with some chips and also some baked beans. But like I said, some people will have mashed potato and gravy. It just depends on you and how you feel. And this is what they look like inside. Absolute textbook Scotch pie. You know, the meat is quite compressed. That's just the way it should be, and quite dry. And your pastry is obviously very firm. So that was just textbook Scotch pie, and I was over the moon with those. Like I said, that's only the second time I have made hot water pastry, because for years I was always afraid of making it because it was notoriously meant to be very difficult. But I find it so easy. It's by far the easiest pastry I've ever done. So I would urge you, if you like your Scotch pies and you don't find them that easy to get a hold of, you might be in a different country, you know, do give these a go, because I found them incredibly easy. Like I said earlier, I am no baker, so if I can do them, you can do them. They are quite cheap to pick up this country, you know, in this country. You can pick them up for, you can get 2 for £1 sometimes, so, you know, it does work out a wee bit dearer making them yourself, but, you know, they are beautiful if they're homemade. You've just got a lovely richness from that lamb you don't always get from the cheaper Scotch pies, because you know you're putting in a good quality lamb, or you could even use mutton if you can find it. But thank you very much, guys, for coming over and checking out this wee recipe, and do let me know if you're going to make it for yourself, and if you do, follow me over on Instagram and send me your pictures over there. So many of you do, and it's lovely to see you coming from here over to Instagram, because I do recognise you and I do remember your name. So whatever you decide to do, you mind to have a brilliant rest of your day, and until the next time I see you, which I think is going to be the shopping haul, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Bye now.